to another video. In this video, we're going to look at some questions in algebra. Alright, so for this question here, it's a substitution question. So in substitution, we replace letters with numbers, right? So the values of m, n, and p are given. So what we need to do is replace these letters with numbers. So we have -3. We have p, which is -1. Subtract n, which is 2. All squared all over 3 multiplied by p, which is -1, plus m, which is -3. So I'm going to put that -3 in bracket just to separate the positive and the negative. All right. So we have a lot to work here, but what do we do first? So essentially, we're going to work out what's in the bracket first. And you know, with O and with O, O3, and that's going to be square. A positive and a negative will give you a negative. 3 1 is 3. A positive and a negative gives you another negative, and we just write back 3. Alright, so I hope you're still with me. I'm going to work out this next, alright? So we're going to have -3. Now, -3 squared is +9. Alright? Now, down here, so with O and with O, we owe 6. Now, when we're dividing with two negatives, it'll give you a positive. Alright? So those two negatives will go away. I'm going to cancel here. 3 and 3 goes 1. 3 into 6 goes 2. So what we get is 9 over 2. And that's our answer. Alright, remember 9 over 2 is the same thing as 4.5. Or 4.5. Moving on to the next slide. Alright, so right here we have a factorization question. It's 2 parts. Now we have different ways of factorizing different expressions, and you're supposed to identify the different expressions. Number 1, that is factorizing with powers. All right, so we have 15 and we have 20. So what we do, we look for the highest common factor there. That's going to be 5. We have x squared, we have x to the 1 power. So what we do, we look for the lower power number. All right, so what I'm doing right here, I'm working out the factor. All right, so we have y1 and we have y2. We use y1 as the factor. All right, so what we're going to do is that we're going to divide each term by the factor. All right, so let me just write it over here. So we have 15 x squared y divided by the factor 5 xy. All right, sorry about that 5, it looks like an S. All right, as you can see, y, cancel y, 15 into 15 goes 3. We have 1x at the denominator, and that 1x will cancel out those two x's, leaving 1. All right, so 5xy into 15x squared will give you 3x. All right, so we know this is actually correct because when you multiply these two, we get back the 15x squared y. All right, oh, by the way, please remember what I said a while ago. When you factorizing with the letters, I use a lower power number. So x squared and x1, what we do, we look for the lowest power number of that x, which is x1 or x. We have y1 and we have y squared, so the lower power number is y1. So y1 turns out to be the factor. All right. So what we're going to do next is to work out the other term. So we have 20x squared, sorry, 20x y squared, and we're going to divide that by 5xy. All right, so clearly the x's will go out, and 5 into 20 will give us 4. We have 1y at the denominator, so that 1y will cancel out those two y's at the top, or we just subtract 1 from 2. So 5xy into 20xy squared turns out to be 4y. And that's our answer for the first part. All right, let's look at the second part. So just from observation, well, it looks like a difference of two squares, but 3 is not a square number and 12 is not a square number. So we're going to factorize using the distributive law. So the highest common factor there, well, we have 3 and we have 12. We can't use b as a factor because there's no b on the left hand side here. So 3 is our only factor. And once you get the factor, you divide the factor into each term. So 3 into 3 goes 1, 2 to 12 goes 4, and that will give you 4b squared. All right. But what do you know about what's inside the bracket? Question, is 1 a square number? Yes. Is 4 a square number? Is that a difference sign? Yes. And we have b squared. So this in the bracket here is a difference of 2 squared. So we're going to factorize this bracket here. So it goes up here, and that's going to be 3. And when you factorize it by difference of 2 squares, it's going to be 1 minus 2b bracket 1 plus, let me see if I can get a different color here, 2b. All right, so this is our answer. So it turns out that this is a difference of 2 squares, and we factorize this part to get this part. All right, so this question here is a two-part question, two type of factorization. All right, let's move on. All right, so this is a fractional equation. And this might take some time to work. So what we're going to do is that we're going to bracket each term. That bracket each term, And what we do is find the LCM. Well, let's put this 2 over 1. So the LCM of 3, 2, 1, and 3 is 6. When you find the LCM, we multiply each bracket by the LCM. And then we cancel. 3 into 3 goes 1. 3 to 6 goes 2. 2 into 2 goes 1. 2 into 6 goes 3. Well, 1 to 6 gives you back 6. 3 and 3 goes 1. 3 into 6 goes 2. Alright? You notice all the denominator will have 1. So we can ignore that. So I'm going to rewrite the top piece. That's 2. Bracket 3x plus 1. Subtract 3 x subtract 2 equals 6 bracket 2. I hope I have space. Plus, alright, 2x minus 3. Alright, so we're going to use the distributive law. So 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 ones 2. Once you see a negative sign and we're multiplying, we have to use the rules of multiplication. So negative and a positive, this negative and that x there, negative and positive, negative 3x, sorry, 3 times x, 3x. 2 negatives here will give us a positive. 3 2s is 6. Alright. Oh boy, I have to go that side. 6 2s is 12. Let's really sorry about this. 2 times 2x is 4x. 2 times 3 is 6. Alright. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna group the x's. Alright, but because of space, I'm gonna save some time. So we realize that these x's can work out because they're like terms. So 3x from 6x is 3x. Alright, 2 plus 6 is 8. Alright, so that's the left hand side. And over on the right hand side, 6 from 12 is 6. Alright, and the 4x there is just by itself, so we rewrite it. Alright. Then we're gonna group x. What I'm gonna put all the x's on the right hand side, all the numbers on the left hand side. But if you wanna put all the x on the left hand side, numbers on the right hand side, no problem. But to get this 3x over on the right hand side, I'm gonna subtract 3x on the left hand side. And because I subtracted on the left hand side, I have to do likewise on the right hand side. So over here, 3x subtract 3x is 0. That will go away. Alright, so end up with 8 equal 6. Now 3x from 4x is just x, or 1x. Let me put the 1 here. Alright, and what we're going to do, we're going to subtract 6 from both sides. Alright, so we end up with x equal 8. So I'm going in the classroom now. Subtract 6. So therefore x is equal to 2. Pretty long question. So x is equal to 2. Alright, we'll move on to the next slide. Alright, so this is this simple little question compared to the one we did a while ago. Alright, so the instruction is not there, but They want us to factorize this thing here. Factorize. Now clearly that's a difference of 2 squares. Because 9 is a square number, and we have a square and b square, and we have a different sign. So that's going to be 3a. Let me write that again. 3a square subtract b square. So the answer is a 3a minus b times 3a plus b. There you go. All right. Let's look at our next challenge. All right. So we call this binary operation. All right. You know, in IT and sometimes in some aspect of math, the asterisk sign implies multiplication, but it's not really multiplication in this sense. All right. What they're referring to, right? They're saying that A operation B is equal to root AB. So that's what's happening. All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to work out this part first. 2 star 18. Now 2 star 18 is actually 2 operation 18, and that operation is actually root AB. And it turns out that A is actually 2 and B is 18. All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to have root 2 times 18. 2 times 18 is 36. And we know that root 36 is plus or minus 6. So when you work out all of this, we get 6. All right. So the complete question on what we're going to do, okay, I'm going to go upstairs, is that our question becomes this now: 6 star 24. So this is our new A, and 24 is going to be our B, but the operation doesn't change. It's still root AB. So it's going to be 6 multiplied by 24. 6 times 24 is, yes, 144. And root 144 is plus or minus 12. So that's our answer. All right, moving on. Okay. More factorization. All right, let's tackle them one by one. All right, so number one, no, 9 is a square number, right? And 25 is also a square number. And this is a different sign, and this is n squared. So this first one is a difference of 2 squares. So we're going to write 9 as 3 squared. Subtract, we're going to write 25 as 5m, that's square. Let me write it properly. All right, so these two are identical. And you know, once you have a difference of two squares, one is also always negative, multiply by positive. So the answer is 3 subtract 5m bracket 3 plus 5m. All right, so that's the first part. Okay, the second part now, this is a quadratic. All right, so in a quadratic expression, we know that a is 2 from this question here, b is negative 1, c is negative 15. All right, and what we're going to do, we're going to multiply a times c. That's going to be 2 times negative 15, which is negative 30. All right, so essentially what we're going to do is, see, we need two numbers, all right, so that when we multiply the two numbers, we get negative 30. And we'll add the two numbers, we get the b value. All right, so let me say that again. We need two numbers so that when we multiply two numbers, we get negative 30. And how do we get negative 30 again? We multiply a times c. All right, so on two numbers we multiply, we get negative 30, and when we add it, we get b, which is negative 1. All right, and so it turns out that those two numbers are negative 6 and positive 5. So this might take some practice of getting those two numbers. As you can see, negative 6 times 5 gives you negative 30. And if you add negative 6 plus 5, you actually get negative 1. Now what do we do after the next step? All right, guys, so I'm gonna see if I can white out part 3. Get some space. All right. Okay. I'm gonna put back that question. I just need some space. All right. So it's not entirely gone, but all right. So once you get those two numbers, right, what you're going to do in the second line, what you're going to do, you're going to take out that portion, the middle portion. What you're going to do, you're going to write about the n piece, which is 2x squared. What you're going to do, you're going to drop in the two numbers in any particular order. I like to put the negative one first. So it'll be negative 6x. It doesn't matter how you put it. You will end up with the same answer. Plus 5x. All right, notice I drop on the x, and what I do, I rewrite the last piece. All right, and then though, because we have 4 terms, we're gonna factorize this by grouping. All right, so the highest common factor there is 2. We have x squared and x. We look for the lower power number, which is x1. Turns out that x goes there because we're going to say 2x into 2x squared, which is x. All right, let me see if I can explain to you. Let me erase this part here. All right, so okay, so I'm trying to explain how we got the 2x here. So let me go again. So we have 2x squared subtract 6. So 2 and 6. So 2 is the highest common factor. We have x squared and we have x1. We look for the lower power number, which is x1. All right. So that's how we get this 2x here, which is a factor. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to say 2x into 2x squared. Now 2x into 2x squared, what's going to happen? The 2 cancel out, and the x into x squared will give us x. Alright, that's x here. Alright, and that's this same x here. Subtract 2x into 6x. 2 into 6 goes 3, and the x cancel the x. Over on the right hand side, we can see that 5 is the highest common factor, and 5 into 5x will give us x. 5 into 15 will give us 3, and we'll write about this negative sign here. Now, you notice that these two brackets here are the same. As a matter of fact, whenever we are factorizing by grouping, all right, all those two brackets have to be the same. All right. So what we're going to do here now is that because these two are like terms, so to speak, we're going to take them out as a factor. All right. And what left back is 2x. 2x is 2x here plus 5. And that's our answer. All right, let's look at the last question here. All right, so clearly it's similar to what we did a while ago in terms of when you have the 4 terms and you're factorizing. So we're going to factorize by grouping. All right, so we're going to bracket each term. All right, now we have x and y. Now what's a common factor here? 1. And we write about the x and y because 1 into x will give you x, 1 into y will give us y. Subtract, common factor there is a, and a into ax, the a will cancel out the x. All right, now here's the tricky part. Well, a into ay will give us y. All right, but what happens to some students is that sometimes they will probably write a negative sign here, and that's wrong. All right, now the reason it's wrong is that, remember, when you're doing factorization, when you multiply out the terms using distributive law, we're supposed to get back the same thing on top. You notice that this is a negative sign, but when I multiply these two negative, it will give us a positive. All right, so it's very tempting to just drop down the signs, but it will be wrong if you put this there. And also, remember I told that these two brackets have to be the same, right? So if this is x plus y, this has to be x plus y. And it works because negative and positive gives us back the negative. And then no, because these two are common, we just pull it out as a factor. And what remains is 1 subtract a, and that's our answer. All right, now remember this is x plus y times 1 minus a, so don't put a plus there. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next question. Okay. Oh, very powerful statement here. It says education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. So the late great Nelson Mandela said that. What do you think? All right, so this is a fraction equation again. So what we're going to do, we bracket each term. Let's put a 1 over here. We'll find LCM, turns out to be 6, and we multiply each bracket by the LCM, and then we just cancel. So 2 into 2 goes 1, 2 into 6, 3, that's 1, 3 into 6, that's what, 2, 1 into 6 will give us back 6. Now what do you know about the denominator? Everything is just 1. So we can ignore that and just write the numerator part. So it's going to be 3p subtract 1 subtract 2 p subtract 2 equal 6 times 1. Alright, so we're going to use distributive law. So that will give us 3p subtract 3 subtract 2p. Remember the sign, 2 2's, right? 6 1's, cool. Alright, so we're going to group like terms. Now 2p from 3p will give us 1p. Well, let me do it. Good. So let me set it again. 2p from 3p gives you 1p. We have negative 3 plus 4, which is positive 1. Alright, so we have negative 3 and we have positive 4. So you owe Mr. Brown $3, you go shop with, sorry, owe Mr. Brown $3, you go shop with $4. Pay off your debt, you don't have that dollar change. And we have 6. Alright, I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides here, so p is equal to 5. Alright, so we're going to move on to the next question, which is a worded simultaneous equation question. Alright? Alright, so it says the cost of 4 chairs on a small table is $684. Alright, so it says let A be the cost in dollars for a chair and B the cost in dollars for a small table. Alright, so it says write a pure simultaneous equation. Alright, so I didn't want to read out the entire thing because you might forget, you know. So I'm just going to look at the first line, first phrase here. So the cost of 4 chairs, so that's going to be 4a, right? Plus a small table. Remember, a small table is represented by b, so that's b or 1b, and everything is going to equal to $684. All right, so let's look at the next sentence. The cost of 6 chairs, so that's going to be 6a, on a large table. No, in the instructions there, they didn't say anything about large table. All right, but they give us another statement here. So the cost of a large table is twice the cost of a small table. All right, so basically in algebra what they're saying that b, which is a small table, is twice the cost of a large table. Hold on, that didn't come out so good. No, that's not right. Sorry. What they're saying that a large table, one large table is just twice the cost of a small table. Small table is represented by p. All right. So basically, a large table is just 2b. So 6a plus 2b. And that is equal to 1196. All right, so this is a simultaneous equation. So we're going to solve it. So this will answer the first part of the question. Write a pair of simultaneous equation representing information. All right, so it says calculate the cost of a large table. All right, so when signs are the same, we subtract. So what I'm going to do, oh, by the way, there's so many ways teachers approach simultaneous equations. And what happens is that some students, they love one way. When they're in grade 9, one teacher showed them one approach. Grade 10, another teacher showed them another approach. And sometimes it can be confusing. All right? But I like the easiest way out. All right? One popular thing is that, when I'm teaching this topic here, I like students to be independent. I want them to think. So there's no one way of doing this. To me, the easiest way out is just to multiply equation 1 by 2. All right, so remember, we're using the method of elimination. All right, and you could also use the substitution method, but we're going to use the method of elimination. It's a very popular method, and the whole idea about elimination method is that we eliminate one of the variables, and once you eliminate one of the variables, the other variable we're going to find, and then we use that variable to find out the one that we got eliminated. So in this case, we're going to get rid of b. When we get rid of b, we solve for a. So since we know what a is, we use that same a that we solved to find out the b that we eliminated. Alright? Okay, sounds like a big crime investigation, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to multiply equation 1 by 2. But why? Well, basically, look, if I have a 2 right here, so right? If I have a 2 right here, so, and I have a 2 down here, so if I subtract those two b's, it's going to disappear. In other words, if I multiply equation 1 by 2 and subtract them, b will be eliminated, leaving us a. Alright? So that's what I'm going to do. Alright? Because of space constraint, please bear with me. Hope you guys understand the logic behind multiplying equation 1 by 2. So it's 2 times the entire thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let me just, I don't know, space. So I'm just going to write down what when you multiply 2 by 4a. So 2 times 4a, okay, let's just do that, will give us what? 8a. So that's going to be 8. And 2 times 1b, as I said before, is going to be 2b. No, 2 times 684. What's 2 times 684? Somebody with a calculator. No? What is it? 1368? Alright. Alright, so I was just talking to myself a while ago. Alright. So this is 1368. Now equation 2 remains intact. I didn't trouble it. So signs are the same, so we're going to subtract. Now 2b from 2b will give us 0. 6a from 8a will give us what? 2a. Alright, so I just got rid of 2b a while ago. Easy like that. It's out. So I just subtract these two now, and that will give us 172. We divide both sides by 2, and we get a to be equal to 86. Alright, so what does a represent? 1 share. What the question says, calculate the cost of a what? A large table. Alright, but remember we said that a large table is twice the cost of a small table. and a small table is represented by b. All right, so what we need to do is we need to find b and then multiply by 2, then we'll get the cost of the large table. All right, so to do this, what we're going to do, we're going to choose equation, let's choose equation 2, because you know well, it doesn't matter which one you choose. All right, so let's choose equation 2. So I'm going to erase all of this. So we'll choose equation 2, but you can choose one, and we're going to substitute the value of a, and a is what? 86, right? So equation 2 is like this, 6a, but a is 86 plus 2b, and that equals to 1196. Now 6 times 86 is 516. Using my calculator there. Plus 2b, which is 1196. All right, so we're going to subtract 516 from both sides. So I'm pressured for space. This question is big. So what I'm going to subtract 516 from both sides. We'll end up with that 516. All right, 516 from 1196 will equal 680. All right, so unfortunately I'm gonna erase this again, sorry about that. So 2b is 680, and we'll divide everything by 2. We get b to be equal to 340. So what do you know? A chair, no, not a chair, a small table. So this represents a small table. Small table costs 340. And a chair costs $86. All right. The question says cost for the large table. So remember, we said that a large table is twice the cost of a small table. So, and this is our small table, the cost of the small table. So it's going to be 2 times 3 times 340. So a large table is actually 680. That's our answer. You can always skip back through the video to see what everything looks like, you know, but I don't like to work on math questions like these in different parts. So this is very unfortunate, but you can always skip back in the video. Okay, we're gonna clear this and we're gonna move on to our next slide. Hopefully it's a much easier question to work out with less words. Oh, it's another simultaneous, but this is just simultaneous straight. What we did a while ago was a worded or an application question. So you notice in the previous question when we had a simultaneous, right? Everything was positive, and I hope you recall when I said that when signs are the same, we subtract, right? And there's another saying, when signs are different, we add. Now in this case, signs are actually different. All right. But we have a little problem. We have a little problem because we can't just add these two equations straight away, all right? Because look, I mean, if you add this, nothing will be eliminated. So the only way I can make something eliminated in this scenario is that if I multiply the bottom equation here by 2. If I multiply this equation here by 2, I will get 4. All right, and I'll have negative 4y plus 4y. And what do you know? That will give us 0. So we just eliminated y, leaving x. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to multiply equation 2 by 2. All right, so that's going to be, let's call it equation 1, equation 2. So we're going to multiply this one by 2. All right, so when we do that, we get 14x plus 2x. All right, tell you, let me just set this up again. So what's going to happen, you see? I'm going to rewrite equation 1 over here on the right hand side, 4x minus 4y equal to. All right, so then now I'm going to multiply this equation by 2. That will give us 14x plus 2 times 2y is 4y, and 2 times 17 is 34. All right, so now signs are different. What we do? We add. So when we add this middle piece, we will get 0. We'll end up with 18x. And 18x equals what? 36. Divide both sides by 18. X equals 2. Then now we choose one of these equations, all right? I'm going to choose the one without a negative, which is equation 2. So I'm going to choose. All right, some person asked me, do we need to write all of this? I doubt it. As an instructor, I have to go choose equation 2 and substitute x equal to. All right, so when you write it, the examiner knows what exactly you're doing. But in terms of marking, I've been marking exams for CXC for some time now, and I haven't seen anything like that where they award the marks for this part here. All right, so we choose equation 2. Equation 2 is 7x plus 2y equals 17, and we replace x with 2. So we have 7 times x, but as we said before, x is 2. It's 2y equals 17. And 7 2 is 14. 14 plus 2y equals 17. And we subtract 14 from both sides, so we end up with 2y equals 17. Subtract 14. All right, and 14 from 17 is what? 3. All right, so I'm gonna go into space right now to finish off this question. So we have 2y. Yes, someone can write over there. 2y is equal to what? 14 from 17 is what? 3. So let's divide everything by what? 2. Cancel out. So therefore y is equal to 3 over 2. Or 1.5 or 1.5. And one of those answers will work. And remember, you can always check to see if your answer is correct by putting back the values of x and y that you get back into any one of these equations. All right, so in other words, if I plug in x equals 2 and y equals 1.5 in the second equation, I should get 17. If I put x equals 2 and y equals 1.5 into equation 1, I suppose I end up with 2. All right. All right, let's move on to the other slide. All right, so you notice we have done, I think, 2 questions on this, but guess what? This is not a fractional equation. 2 questions that we did a while ago, up in the other videos. They were fractional equations, all right? But this is a fractional expression, right? And how I do it different from how we do fractional equation, right? So what we do is we just draw the line like the regular fraction. You know the LCM is 12, all right? So 3 to 12 goes 4, and we normally say 4 times numerator, but I'm just gonna put that working out right here because we don't want to make any mistakes. All right, and 4 to 12 goes 3, so normally it's 3 times the entire thing, but let's put that down here. Then we're just going to use the distributive law. So that's going to give us 4 times x, 4x. 4 times 2, 8. 3 times x, 3x. 3 ones, 3. And everything is all over 12. We're going to group the x's together, right? So we have 4x plus 3x, and that's going to be 7x. We have negative 8 plus 3. Your ohms are brown. $8, you go shop with $3. You got ohms are brown. $5. And we put that over 12. All right, and that's our answer. All right, so we're gonna move on to the other question. All right, so this question is a proportion questions and variation. It says the table below shows corresponding values of the variables x and y, where y varies directly as x. Calculate the values of a and b. All right, so let's start. So what we're going to do is set up an equation, right? So this is probably one of the most important parts. Y varies directly as x. So it's going to be y, and this is what we call the proportionality sign, varies directly as x. All right. What we're going to do is that we're going to replace the proportionality sign with an equal sign. But when you do that, you have to put a constant there. All right. And our next step is that we're going to find the constant and then put back the constant in the equation. It's like, okay, you know this formula? A is equal to what? Pi r squared. We know that pi is a number that doesn't change, right? But before it was a equals pi r squared. The mathematicians didn't know what pi was before. Right, so they had to work on pi and then put it back in the formula. So before it was pi r squared, it would probably look something like this. A is direct proportional to r squared. All right, and they did some investigation and put a k there because they don't know what to call it. And they investigate, run some experiments to figure out what k was. Turns out that k was pi. But when they find the value of k, which is pi, the constant, they put it back in the original equation. All right, so likewise this, we're going to do the same thing. All right, so we need to find k. So to find k, we're going to make k the subject. So we're going to divide everything by x. So x cancel out. All right, draw a line there. So therefore, k is equal to y over x. All right. Now we're going to use these two values here in the table to find our k. All right. So you can't use any other values. You have to use two values that are, that we know. So y is 12 and x is 2. So k turns out to be what? 6. So our formula, guys, is y equal 6x. This is our formula, Eureka. All right, and we're going to use this formula to find the value of a and b. All right. Okay. So our formula is y equal 6x. All right. Okay. So in this second column, right? What is it saying? It's saying that x is 5 and y is a. So y is a, so I have a, replace y with a, or we replace x with 5. Now 6x means 6 times x, which is 6 times 5. So 6 5s is 30. So a is equal to 30. All right. Okay, so let's work out the other value now. So let's look at this column here. What this is saying, saying that x is now b and y is now 48. So we're going to use the same equation. Y is equal to 6x. All right, so what we said, y is equal to 48. So we'll replace y with 48. And x is b, so that's going to be 6b. So we'll divide we'll divide everything by 6 to find b. All right, so 6 into 48 equals 8. So b is equal to 8. All right, and that's how you do that question. Let's look at another similar question. All right. Well, this is very similar. So it says, given that y varies inversely as x squared. Hold on, let's pause for a second. How do we write this? So the previous one was directly, now it's inversely. Now inversely means that, I forgot to explain what was y direct proportion to x means. It just means that when one variable is going up, the other variable is going up. Pretty much like, life itself. What you put in is what you get out. Like the more you plant, the more money you make. The more cars you sell, the more commission you get. The more electricity you use, the more bills you pay. Something like that. When one variable goes up, the other variable goes up also. And also when it goes down also. Pretty much how the society really works, you know. If you're lazy, you will be unemployed, basically. You don't have to do anything at all. But the more you work, the more you become prosperous. But inversely is slightly the reverse of that. What it's saying is that when one variable goes up, the other variable goes down. That's not common, but it does happen. For example, supply demand scenario. When goods are short in supply, the price will go up. You know, so that's another variable to look at. So that's what it's all about, inversely variable. So to do this, we say y. We still put back the sign, but when it says inversely, we put 1 over whatever they say. So it's y proportion sign 1 over. In this case, it's x squared. So you write x squared. All right. So you know the other step in this that we're going to do, right? We're going to say y. Replace that proportional sign with an equal sign. I'm going to put k for a constant of proportionality. So it's k times 1 over x squared. All right, which is actually y equals k over x squared. All right, so this is our formula. And what we're going to do now, we're going to find k. All right, and what we're going to do, we're going to cross multiply. We're going to cross multiply. So 1 times k is k, and that's going to be y times x squared. All right, now if you look at the question, right, they tell you that they give you 2 values. Just like the table a while ago, they have to give you 2 values to work out the constant. So y is 3, is 3 multiplied by x squared, which is 2 squared. And 2 squared is 4. All right, and 3 fours is 12. So our k value is equal to 12. So our formula, ladies and gentlemen, is y equals, see, where the k is right here. So we just work it out, and that turns out to be what? 12 all over x squared. This is our formula. Y is equal to 12 over x squared. And we're going to use this to find the value of y when x equals 3. All right, so let me just clear up all of this. So let me rewrite our formula. Y is equal to 12 over x squared. So it says that find the value of y when x is equal to 3. So y is equal to 12 over 3 squared. 3 squared is 9, and we can reduce that 4 over 3. So that's our answer, 4 over 3. So that's math. All right, let's look at our question. All right. So this is another binary operation question. All right, so a star b is equal to all of this. So all we need to do is replace a with 3, b with 4. That's going to be 3 plus 4 square, subtract 2 times a, which is 3, times 4. Let's work the bracket first. That's going to be 7 squared. Now 2 times 3 times 4. Well, 2, 3, 6. 6, 4 is 24. But 7 squared is what? 49. 49 subtract 24 is how much? 25. So, you know, hope you guys, when you see maths, you don't look at it like this guy, right? All right, so let's continue. All right. Yes. Algebra. Factorization. All right. So the first one has 4 terms, so we're going to factorize by grouping. All right. So all right. So we're going to have we're gonna bracket these 2 terms here. All right. And we're gonna find the factors. Well, it turns out that a is the only factor. So we take out a. I would say a into 2ax. What's gonna happen? The a gonna cancel on 2. Leave 2x. I'm gonna divide this second term here by a also. A into 3ay. We're gonna end up with 3y. Okay, on the right hand side now we realize that b is common. And when we factorize that, we end up with the same thing on the right. Now here we go with another tricky part of this thing here. All right, what sign should go there? If I put a negative sign here, it's going to be wrong, because if negative and negative will be a positive, but it's a negative up there, so this has to be a positive, because negative and positive give you a negative, and also because it will be consistent with these 2 brackets. They're always the same. All right, so let's continue. So these 2 brackets are the same, so we're going to take out 1 as a factor. All right, and what left back is just a subtract b. All right, let's look at the second one. All right, so, well, 5 is not a square number and 20 is not a square number. So it's not a difference of 2 squares at a glance. So we're going to factorize using the distributive law. So we recognize that 5 is the only factor. 5 into 5x squared going to give us x squared. 5 into 20 will give us 4. But what you notice, this is a difference of 2 squares inside the bracket, because 4 is a square number, right? So our answer is just going to be x minus 2 and x plus 2. All right, the third one is a quadratic. So a is 3, b is 4, and c is negative 15. Now we're going to multiply a times c. Now a times c is 3 times negative 15, which is negative 45. So we need 2 numbers that will multiply. We get negative 45, and we add, we get 4, positive 4 to be exact. It turns out that those 2 numbers are negative 5 and positive 9. Negative 5 times 9 will give you negative 45. Negative 5 plus 9 will give you positive 4. So once you get those two numbers, take out the middle part, then you write back 3x squared. You drop in the two numbers in any particular order. I like to put the negative 1 first, along with the x. And the way you notice, you have 4 terms just like number 1. So we're going to factorize this by grouping. So we see that x is a factor. So 3x goes there because x into 3x squared. The x1 of the x cancel off. X into 5x. This x cancel off, leave 5. Alright, what I do sometimes is, because I know that the other bracket have to be the same, I just write out the same thing. And then I try to figure out what goes here. Turns out to be, it has to be 3. And then we finish basically. So we got that. What remaining is x. Alright guys, so we're gonna end our video right here. I'm going to do another one, but I don't want to drag this one out. So this is the end of the presentation, guys, and look out for the other part of the video. And thanks for watching. Stay safe. God bless.